It's because your dominant thoughts guide your focus, your actions. Subtly, maybe, but powerfully.
Like an
Come on in, let's talk about it. Come on in, let's talk about it. Make it make sense.
Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a really powerful set of ideas.
About how much control you actually might have over your reality.
Exactly. More than you think, right? We've got this fascinating piece of writing. It's basically like a user manual for your mind
Yeah, showing how to intentionally shape your assumptions.
to get actual real-world results.
Yeah.
And our goal for you, the learner, is to pull out the core principles.
The stuff you can actually use.
Right. Connect it to your experience so you walk away with some genuine insights, those aha moments.
Instead of just a heap of information,
Yeah.
which is easy to do with this kind of material.
So true. Okay, so the central theme, the core idea.
It's that your life basically bends to your assumptions. What you deeply, consistently assume tends to happen.
And it's not magic, right? The text is clear on that.
No, not at all. It's because your dominant thoughts guide your focus, your actions. Subtly, maybe, but powerfully.
Like an internal compass.
Exactly. Pointing you in a certain direction, whether you realize it consciously or not. It mentions mental engineering.
Yeah, I like that phrase, deliberately shaping your thoughts.
And this idea that dominant thoughts actually pull circumstances into alignment with them.
That's a big one. And another. You can't serve two minds. Doubt and certainty can't coexist, essentially. One has to go.
One has to die, as the text puts it rather dramatically.
And the call to act as if the outcome you want is already here, secured.
Lots to unpack there.
Definitely. So let's dig into that first point. The sheer power of assumption. How expectations influence actions, perceptions.
This idea that your dominant thoughts pull circumstances into alignment, it's not just positive thinking, is it?
No, it feels much more active than that. The source gives us Henry Ford. He didn't just hope for the car.
Right. He operated with this absolute conviction. It would work, period.
He was building factories, designing assembly lines, acting as if it was inevitable.
Even when everyone else thought he was nuts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That assumption acted like a filter, didn't it? He saw possibilities where others saw problems.
Precisely. And Thomas Edison, same thing with the light bulb. Thousands of attempts that didn't work.
But the core assumption that success was possible, even inevitable, never wavered.
Right. It wasn't just being stubborn. It was a deep certainty fueling the relentless work.
So the belief itself kind of paved the way for its own fulfillment.
It seems so. And it wasn't just Ford and Edison. Think about Charles Schwab, Andrew Carnegie.
Yeah, the text mentions them operating with this unwavering faith in their visions.
And that faith wasn't just internal. It radiated outwards, influencing their teams, investors,
Yeah.
building empires.
Which leads to that really intriguing question the text poses. What if it all works out?
That's a powerful reframe.
What if the setbacks, the delays, even the pain, what if they're just part of the process towards things working out?
That's a huge shift from how many people operate, isn't it? The default often seems to be worry, anticipating failure.
Yeah, living in that state of anxiety.
But what if you consciously chose to assume the positive outcome? Not naively, ignoring risks.
Right, not blind optimism.
But changing the fundamental lens. Obstacles become detours, learning opportunities, not dead ends.
It's about flipping the script, as the text says. Moving from hesitation and fear toward certainty.
Yeah, installing a new operating system mentally.
Through repetition, right.
Yeah.
Constantly reinforcing that assumption. Everything is working out for me.
It sounds simple, maybe, but the argument is that this builds incredible inner resilience, quiet command.
And when you assume success, you act differently. More courageously, maybe. With more authority.
I think so. You're not constantly second-guessing yourself if the background belief is, this will work.
And the subconscious mind's role here is key.
Absolutely. The text really hammers this. Your subconscious accepts what you feed it. It builds around that core assumption.
So if you keep telling yourself, things never work out for me,
your subconscious basically goes, roger that, and finds ways to make that true. Or at least you perceive it as true.
Which brings us nicely to definiteness of purpose. It's not enough to just generally assume good things.
No, you need a clear, unwavering aim. Something burned deep.
Written with fire is the phrase used. Intense.
It highlights the contrast between a vague dream, like I want to be successful,
Mm-hmm.
and a purpose that's absolutely crystal clear.
Because without that sharp focus.
Your energy scatters, you get distracted easily, you mistake busyness for progress.
But a definite purpose acts like a lens, right? Focusing your effort.
Exactly. Think of Ford wanting to put the world on wheels, or Lincoln's resolve to hold the nation together. That kind of clarity.
And the text gives a very practical step. Define your purpose. One clear sentence.
What must you build? Who must you become? What must you give? What does your life demand?
Getting it down to that core essence.
And then, crucially, rehearsing it daily. It's not a one-and-done exercise.
You have to keep returning to it, embedding it until it's the dominant thought, your internal North Star.
Which leads into how you build the faith to pursue that purpose.
Yeah, the text frames faith very practically, not as something you just get, but something you build.
Brick by brick, act by act, thought by thought. I like that. It's an active construction process.
So faith is presented as a result, a byproduct of consistent, disciplined belief.
Spoken aloud, written down, acted upon, over and over.
Because the mind believes what's repeated, which is why dwelling on weakness is so dangerous.
And why rehearsing strength through autosuggestion is so powerful. Deliberately feeding the mind the identity you choose.
Edison again, right? His faith wasn't shaken by failures because he kept reinforcing the belief in the outcome. Rockefeller visualizing wealth.
Exactly. So the instruction is clear. Write down your chief aim. Repeat it daily with emotion. Visualize it.
Speak it as fact. Not, I hope to be, but I am focused. I am disciplined. I act with purpose.
It's about programming that belief at the deepest level.
Which then enables you to do something the text calls burning the bridge. Sounds dramatic.
It is, intentionally so. It means removing the option of retreat, eliminating fallback plans, excuses.
Why is that seen as so necessary?
Because, the argument goes, you can't build a new life, a new identity, while clinging to the old one. True transformation requires full commitment.
No safety nets.
Essentially, yes. Think of Schwab's decisive leadership, Carnegie demanding total commitment, Ford doubling down on the assembly line.
They went all in. So practically, this means cutting out distractions, negative influences, comforting but limiting habits.
Yes. Anything that keeps you tied to the old way of being, the old identity. The text warns against listening to that voice of the old self.
The voice of doubt or fear.
Right. You have to consciously choose to ignore it, even kill it, as the text puts it. Act from decision, not feeling.
You move because you decided to move, not because you feel motivated every single second.
Precisely. The decision is the engine.
Okay, then there's the power of the mastermind. This isn't about mind control, is it?
Not at all. It's based on the principle that you inevitably become like the minds you consistently associate with.
So choose your associations wisely.
Exactly. The mastermind is described as a mental alliance. People moving together with shared intention, elevating each other.
So you need to seek out or build a circle of people who think clearly, act purposefully.
And reinforce your mission, your chosen path.
Okay.
Ford's network, Edison's labs, Carnegie's advisors.
Examples of harnessing collective brain power and shared drive.
And just as importantly, removing negative or unsupportive people from your mental atmosphere. Protecting your focus.
So form your mastermind deliberately, even if it starts with just one other person.
Yes, and meet regularly, with purpose, with
Wow.
accountability. Build that supportive ecosystem.
This ties into the next big idea, belief before evidence. This feels counterintuitive for many.
It really does. But the text argues that belief isn't the result of proof, it's the foundation for creating proof.
Faith is a requirement, not an option you wait for.
Right. It contrasts fear, which waits for proof before acting, with faith, which acts first and makes the proof appear through action.
So Lincoln's faith and freedom, Ford's belief in his vision, they acted before the evidence was overwhelming.
They acted as if their visions were already real. And that action, driven by belief, is what bends reality.
Action reinforces belief. Belief fuels action. It's a loop.
A powerful loop. The law, according to the text, belief precedes performance. Always.
So the instruction is, speak your vision, move like it's done, don't let fear dictate, act like you make.
Even if the belief feels shaky at first, the action shores it up.
Got it. Now let's talk about the power of decisiveness.
Ah, yes. The ability to choose and then stick to it. Never retreat from the decision.
This is presented as a major separator, isn't it, between builders and hesitators?
Absolutely. Indecision is framed as the breeding ground of fear. It causes decay, stagnation.
So the habit to cultivate is, decide fast, change your mind slow, if at all.
Right. Think of Ford again, maybe with the V8 engine decision. Once made, it was full steam ahead. Schwab's leadership, Carnegie's focus.
They didn't endlessly waffle.
No. The text argues, decision creates identity. Indecision preserves the old self you're trying to leave behind.
Powerful idea. So the actionable takeaway.
Make one strong decision today related to your purpose. And refuse to revisit it, refuse to second guess, build that decisiveness muscle.
Okay, next up. The law of increasing returns. Doing more than expected.
This is the principle that if you consistently deliver more value than you're currently compensated for,
Eventually, you'll be compensated for more than you're currently doing. The rewards catch up and often exceed the input.
right. It contrasts the average approach, I'll give more when I get more, with the builder's approach.
Which is
Give more now, deliver exceptional value first, trusting the law of returns.
Carnegie's early hustle, Edison's insane work ethic, Schwab always over-delivering.
They embodied this.
Yeah.
The marketplace ultimately pays for impact and value, not just time served or basic expectations met.
It's about going the extra mile.
Exactly. That place where there's less competition, because most people don't bother.
And it requires detaching from immediate results, focusing on the principle of excellence.
Yes. Acting from principle, not just chasing the next reward. So the challenge is, where can you over-deliver today? Make excellence the habit.
Makes sense. Then cultivating a pleasing personality. This isn't about being fake, right?
No, definitely not manipulation or superficial charm. It's about understanding that nobody achieves big things alone. Influence is crucial.
And a pleasing personality in this context is about cultivated positive energy, something that magnetizes others.
That's the idea. It involves conscious discipline in specific areas.
Like,
Tone of voice, facial expression, showing genuine interest in other people, maintaining optimism.
the examples given Carnegie making people feel seen, Schwab's positivity, Edison creating a collaborative buzz, Lincoln's mix of firmness and humility.
Ford's consistent presence even. It's about making others feel valued, carrying yourself with calm authority. Not arrogance, but confidence.
And the highest form of this influence.
Is simply uplifting everyone around you by embodying these principles yourselves. Your presence becomes a positive force.
Okay, the source circles back strongly to the importance of repetition for subconscious programming.
Yes, it really emphasizes this. One-time exposure to these ideas, not enough for deep change.
Repetition is the language the subconscious understands.
And the strongest loop wins. Whatever you repeat most consistently with the most feeling becomes your reality.
So autosuggestion is the tool.
It's the core method for reprogramming your identity, your beliefs, at the subconscious level.
So the instruction is replay the core message. Speak it aloud. With energy, memorize key phrases.
Make it your mental software. Run the program daily.
Over 90 days, the text suggests, for deep embedding.
Right. Consistent daily reinforcement is key. What you feed forms you. What you repeat becomes you. Simple but profound.
Which brings us to the culmination, living as if.
Yeah, this ties everything together. It means moving forward as the person you're becoming, not as the person you were.
Embodying the transformation before it's fully visible externally.
Acting as if the breakthrough has happened. Success is unfolding. The goal is achieved.
It's faith in action.
Exactly. Moving, building, walking like the outcome is certain. Adopting the posture, the mindset.
Rooted in self-knowledge, self-belief.
So, declare that new identity with power and move accordingly. The universe responds to certainty, the text says. Life bends to belief.
Let your actions reflect the person who already has what they came for.
Even just carrying yourself with that quiet inner knowing, that silent presence, rooted in certainty.
And returning to the core message whenever needed for reinforcement.
Always keep the programming running.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, the key takeaway feels like it's about conscious choice, isn't it?
Absolutely. Choosing your assumptions, dedicating yourself unwaveringly to a purpose.
Deliberately building faith through repetition, making decisive moves, burning those bridges to the past.
Understanding that going the extra mile, over-delivering, and positively influencing others aren't just nice-to-haves. They're fundamental laws of advancement.
The power to shape your reality lies in applying these principles consistently.
Which leaves you, the listener, with maybe a provocative thought to consider.
Yeah.
What's the one area in your life where shifting your core assumption and truly acting as if the outcome you desire is already real, where could that make the biggest difference?
And following on from that, What single bridge might you need to burn today? What retreat option needs to go to fully commit?
Yeah, something to really mull over.
Definitely. And so the call to action for you, the learner, reflect on these principles. Pick one or two that really hit home for you.
And just start. Think about how you can begin integrating them into your daily thoughts, your daily actions, even small steps.
Because that journey of transformation, as we've explored, it starts with that single decisive step.
Taken with unwavering.